What's up, world? Welcome back to I Mix What I Like. Again, I'm Jared Ball. Happy to be your host. Again, big shout out to patrons and channel members who are getting to see this first. Big update. I've just heard back from the organization working with Kelis in East Africa, where she and they argue they are carrying on the work of Mother Teresa and the Black Panther Party. I mix what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like. Like, share, subscribe. Welcome everybody back to the platform. First, let's check this clip I was just sent from apparently a recent visit to the Breakfast Club by Snoop. I'm only going to bring you the audio so that we can hopefully avoid some copyright issues. But let's look at this particular rebranding of the Black Radical tradition. And for more on that Black Radical tradition, make sure you are seeing the 100 Years of Malcolm X series I've been running over there on Black Liberation Media. It's a good reintroduction to what the tradition actually is.
You hear people's opinions on when you did the crypto ball. Mm-hmm. Does that bother you?
No, I call it 30 for 30. And let me explain that to you. Mm-hmm. I DJ'd at the crypto ball for 30 minutes. Made a whole bunch of money, made a lot of relationships to help out the inner city and the community and teach financial literacy and crypto in a space that it don't exist. That's 30 minutes. 30 years, Snoop Dogg been doing great things for the community, building, showing up.
So again, the idea that cryptocurrency is somehow in advance or somehow progressing or helpful, somehow the money made by one Black celebrity is meant to satisfy the concerns and the criticisms of the legit concerns and criticisms of people wondering why you teaming up with Trump. Especially after that video went viral a couple of years ago of you basically calling people sellouts if they do team up with Trump. Now it's being rebranded as something else. And maybe ESPN might want to have a word with you about the use of their 30 for 30 brand.
Standing up for the people, making it happen, being all I can be. So which one is it? 30 for 30? 30 minutes or 30 years? Mm-hmm. Oh, is it a crime?
Nope.
So, but this
I
is
part that, man. I ain't gonna lie. I hate it.
But this is part of the problem, that as it's a sort of an extension of the cliche that it takes a lifetime to build a reputation and a moment to ruin it. But politically, the image of a celebrity, particularly one claiming to be doing good work for the people, siding up with the likes of Donald Trump, undermines symbolically, politically, and otherwise whatever work you're claiming to be doing. And then whatever work you're claiming to be doing could only be so radical if in fact it dovetails and overlaps with public appearances and ultimately support for Donald Trump. So it's the same thing I've been saying for years. If you are a progressive rapper who ends up doing a Coca-Cola commercial, or I said, the one mistake I thought Kaepernick made or has made that I would identify as an actual mistake is doing the Nike commercial. I think it undermines the work and the currency and the meaning of that work, even in the unconscious political mind of those he's meaning to work with. So I think the same thing happens here, but yeah.
I know, came at you. And I love how my people defended me, mm-hmm. but I didn't give y'all no ammunition, meaning that I never said nothing. So it was kind of becoming like, damn, man, y'all keep riding on dog and I ain't finna have that. Y'all can't. But damn, he ain't said nothing. So it's like, I can't fight for another man that ain't gonna fight for itself. Mm-hmm. So tomorrow, is it a crime? I'm fighting.
And then they kept taking the video saying, well, he said this about Trump back then. Yeah. But then he DJ. But it's not, you didn't endorse nobody. You just
It is an endorsement. Again, even unconsciously, if you want to claim somehow it's not, when people see you partying, performing at, taking a check from, claiming to be building with, bringing money to, and making money for yourself, how is it not an endorsement? And if it's not an endorsement, it's certainly a confusing message to send. And if you don't mean to endorse, then you should publicly denounce the invitation and not perform. Make money elsewhere. Find a way to help people another way. As if building with Trump is the only way to be helpful, as if building with crypto is the only way to be helpful.
You DJ the party.
But those are bots. And then there's entertainers who was getting behind it and trying to make something out of it, which to me is like, most of those guys, they live off of the internet and live off of that energy. The things that I do, even if I would have done it for him and hung out with him and took a picture with him, can't none of you motherfuckers tell me what I can and can't do. But I'm not a politician. I don't represent the Republican Party. I don't represent the Democratic Party. I represent the motherfucking gangster party. Period, point blank. And G shit, we don't explain shit.
So if you represent the gangster party, then what is it that you're saying is being done? How does that work with the people? Because a minute ago he was saying he's doing the work for the people. Now he's saying I don't represent any party, just the gangster party. So I don't know how that relates to the broader community or what that means. And maybe that's just because I'm not close enough. But again, I feel like this is just confusing messaging, especially if the target audience are younger or even our age, since both of us are in our 50s and up, hip hop heads.
So that's why I didn't explain. That's why I didn't go into detail when motherfuckers was trying to counsel me and say he a sellout. Even on my Instagram page, like after that, I would post shit and I see motherfuckers like, oh, he a sellout. You know what I would do? Jump right in their motherfucking DM with a video. You bitch ass nigga, what's happening, nigga?
Shut your bitch ass
Snoop
up.
Dogg, nigga, what you want to do? And guess what they would do? Oh, man, I'm just a fan, man. I didn't really, I'm sorry, man. Snoop, yeah, nigga, you got me fucked up, nigga. I jump all off in your shit, nigga, and talk to you face to face. Don't hit me on.
First of all, it's not face to face if it's in the DMs. So this is more Facebook tough talk, but which is silly, especially when you're supposed to be talking about you doing something good for the community. Why is this your aggressive, hostile response to them? But you where's the hostility for Trump and for the people you're about to mention in a minute?
Hit me on no, he'll sell out on Instagram or this and that, because I'm really engaging like that. You know what I'm saying? And my work should speak for me. Like, don't take my personal or my business and try to involve it in my life on who I am as a person. The things that I do in real life should matter to you more. You understand what I'm saying? Not what I do when I'm DJing or making music or doing this and that. What is he like as a real person? When you walk up on Snoop Dogg, what is his energy? What is his aura? What is that you get from me?
Some people were saying that.
But the issue, so again, he's consciously or not, he's moved the goalposts. The initial criticism is for the political act of siding with what many people see as the new form of fascism. It's not an issue of, are you a good person when you're on your way to the store and do you hold the door open for elders and that's irrelevant. Doing all of that, greeting people, smiling, dapping people up, playing cards, playing dominoes, whatever he does, opening the door for old folks, whatever he's doing in the street is wonderful. All of it's undermined when you go and support Donald Trump. That's the point I'm making, and that's the point of the criticism he's claiming is coming from, on the one hand, bots, but on the other hand, people he's willing to jump in face to face via DM with and tough talk. And again, well into our 50s and up. I mean, he may be in his 60s at this point. So this is what is, you know, in the comedy of the beds, the Black excellence deep state. This is what the goal is for the Black bourgeoisie to do, to create a buffer against criticism for their behavior, to say don't criticize us as we make our own individual money and do things for our specific family and friends, and then take political positions that hurt you. Don't criticize that, because I'm just doing the best I can out here making money and doing something for you at the same time condemning you for raising criticism for teaming up with people who are undermining. I mean, it's wild.
And that was Trump cashing in a favor because Harry O got pardoned, and you were instrumental in Harry O getting pardoned. And I mean, I don't know if that's true. That's what the internet rumor was.
The internet loved sparking things, but Trump did get Harry O out. That is a fact. That is a fact. And I performed at the crypto.
A minute ago, see, this is the other thing, and this happens in terms of academic debate and disagreement too. People will say, on the one hand, you should reach out and talk to someone directly, but that person doesn't respond, doesn't want to talk to you, and will continue to do their public work that you're trying to be critical of and not being seen as a hater. You're saying on the one hand, the internet loves sparking things, but you said previously that you didn't say anything about your performance at the Trump ball because you didn't want to give people ammunition. If you're not saying anything that explains your actions and you're taking public actions that seem contradictory and confusing, how is it then that you can turn around and blame the internet for raising up questions and trying to come to conclusions when you're not saying anything? If lay it out, make it plain so people understand why you're teaming up or seeming to team up with people who are for all intents and purposes our enemy.
That is a fact. Mm-hmm. That is a fact. And I performed at the Crypto Ball for David Sachs, who's been a friend of mine for 15 years, who was head of the cryptocurrency situation that was put into that position. So it was more or less a relationship that I had with
So again, you're saying I'm not endorsing Trump, but I am endorsing my 15-year-old long friend in David Sachs, who is Trump's crypto czar, who comes out of the PayPal dark enlightenment techno-feudalist community. So you're not endorsing Trump. You're not endorsing the Democrats. You're only endorsing the gangster party. But David Sachs is your long-term buddy, and if anything, you're doing a favor for him, even as he's taken on this role in the Trump administration as the crypto czar. And by the way, yet again, cryptocurrency and cryptoganda is all forms of hustle and marketing and propaganda and anti-intellectualism, unsupported. It's all nonsense. Please check so much of my and other people's criticisms of crypto. But this is why
Charlemagne. And Charlemagne was put in the office by the president. But Charlemagne's been my friend for 15 years. And me and Charlemagne been getting money together. And we working this crypto thing that nobody know about. And then Charlemagne say, hey, dog, I got this crypto play that's going to bring some money back to the hood.
And again, if this scenario he's depicting here, where allegedly Charlemagne would have been tapped as to go in to do work with the Trump administration to bring money back to the hood, and why would he then be seen as being, be criticized for maintaining his friendship with Charlemagne? He's saying this is the parallel to David Sachs. The question again for us should be, if your friends and your best friends are doing things that people like Trump find of value and want to support, then you should reevaluate your friend group. And if not, the rest of us should reevaluate your impact, your function within these spaces. And we should question your role in rebranding Black radical traditions and concepts of redistribution and engagement and political power and economic strength and this, that, and the third. All of that should be criticized if this is your friend group, if this is your political group, if this is your world. We should not be seeing this as in the way he would prefer, that hey, don't criticize me and my Black bourgeoisie efforts here. I'm doing this for you. Now, again, remember, he also said, by the way, I made money. And this promise of money coming back to the hood through crypto, we'll have to see how that works. That'll come later, allegedly. But that's all. It's just all nonsense.
Cool. I'm with you. You helping the hood out, not knowing that the hood gonna talk. Like, where does that part work when I'm trying to help y'all, but y'all talking? That's why a lot of times when people make it, they don't come back.
Wow.
For that reason. It's the truth.
Wow. So you heard him. The Black bourgeoisie does the best they can. They get out of the hood. They go make money however they do it. Whoever they need to be in relationship with, whatever they need to say, do, they go out and make that money. And you complaining that their efforts have not helped you and you still remaining in the hood is reasons why they don't come back. Not because their so-called escape is evidence that that's not how you correct the problems in the hood, but because because you're clamoring and your criticism of their insufficient efforts, despite the claim that they're doing work for you, your insufficient efforts are why they don't come back. That is wild. That is the quintessential don't get mad at the bourgeoisie because we're doing the best we can and it's your fault. Those who are hating. Wow. Salute to Eve, who is an unofficial producer of this program, sends me a lot of this stuff. And yeah. So, but as I've said, it was somewhat of a joke, but not really. The only reason Snoop's career has been maintained and supported by an industry itself a subset of a colonial ruling elite and order is so he would be in place all these years later to say these things, to be in position to have his celebrity used to promote an antithetical form of Black politics and Black radicalism. All right, let's get to this update on Kelis. I was sent this as well. Kelis, someone was really heavily, this alleged doctor was heavily in my chat criticizing my mispronunciation of her name. I'm more interested in her politics at this point and what's being promoted as her politics than forgive me, it's not an intent to mispronounce Kelis. But I can pronounce SODA, Solidarity of Dispersed Africans. I can pronounce Pan-Africanism, and I can pronounce socialism. I can also pronounce Black capitalism.
Ever since I came out here, it's been over a year now, I had a plan. I didn't know exactly how I was going to do it, but I knew that I wanted to do something that was useful. I always say, bless the work of my hands, right? So feed the people. Everything I do that's from this website is going to give a percentage to feeding the children in East Africa. So I made this t-shirt. I'm so obsessed with all of the African leaders that are starting to stand up. I've been watching this guy, Ibrahim Traore. I think everything he's doing is smart. I think we need more heroes like him. I'm so obsessed with all of the African leaders that are starting to stand up and take a stand and take their countries back and make these really amazing, bold statements. So go to Feed the People, it's PPL, not people.com, and you can get your shirt today. And don't forget, that means you're donating to feeding children in East Africa. You can get your shirts, you can see what else we're gonna be putting up there. We'll put new drops on there all the time. It's really just to be part of the community, part of the society.
So on the one hand, I'm not meaning to pick on Kelis or any individual celebrity or any of us just for the sake of it. And it's not even really, I'm saying it's their fault. This is not even Snoop's fault. I do think we need help in understanding what the attempted rebrand is and being reminded of what the actual politics are in terms of a Black radical tradition. But at the same time, their celebrity is being used in quite the iron triangle way that I've been, arguing for some time, and I think it's worthy of consideration. And since I keep being sent these things, why not? So, first of all, this is sort of the point I keep getting at. The underlying, even unconscious desire for revolution is very real. And that's why, of course, many of us would be drawn to Ibrahim Traore, as we should be. And we should be looking to support all of those various struggles and associated struggles in the Sahel and the AES and throughout the continent and the diaspora, for that matter. How that support functions and what arguments around that should be made, I think, is part of the issue. So what ends up happening is the way I end up seeing the colonial function, the function of colonialism in these spaces is the rebranding of what it means to be in support. So those in power are very well aware that there, and we talked about a lot, there's a need to, and even in the documents that Jared Ware and Orasami Burton were talking about in terms of the counterinsurgency work from the military, their argument is a lot of it includes this addressing itself to the symbols that are important to people that they mean to target with their counterinsurgency. So Traore, African Revolution, the Black Panther Party, Black Liberation, all of these are symbols that are still very important. Malcolm X, still very important. So there is a consistent attempt to manage and manipulate how people engage those symbols and those politics. So Kelis says this and then mentions the selling of T-shirts and Feed the People. So I did follow up a little bit and look into that. So I first went to feedthepeople.com. As you can see here, Black Panther Party honoring the Black Panther Party's free breakfast program by donating a percentage of every item sold to children in Africa. The shirts look kind of fly. I'm not mad at the shirts. They got money for wars but can't feed the poor. It's quoting Tupac. But then I was trying to find out, so who is this? The mission is more than just another T-shirt. The hope for a contribution to make real impact on our community. Every item sold supports in honor of the free breakfast program. But there's not much in detail here, except this one. We are working with organizations such as Missionaries of Charity Langata to provide beds and food for children, as well as Feed the People Kenya chapter, providing breakfast to local school children and communities in the slums near Nairobi. And I've been there. I've seen Nairobi, Kenya, and the slums and how people live there. And it is atrocious. So I'm not mad at anybody, especially coming from another part of the world with some resources, seeing this and saying, hold up, this is a mess. But again, we're being invited to respond to the real problems of colonization with very neo-colonial, counterinsurgent, antithetical ideas and rebrandings of radical. So, and again, there's not a lot of detail. So I other than what I just showed you there's not a lot of detail. I'll put the links in the show description. Folks can obviously check me out on this. But I contacted them. And I wrote through their contact page. I said, hello, where can I find more? And of course, your name is already there, so I'm already identified. Where can I find more information about this effort? I see none here. For instance, who is the we and the us in this effort? How and where are the clothes made? In what ways will children be fed through this effort? Thanks. A couple days later, I got this message this morning. Hi, this is organization based here in Africa, Nairobi, Kenya, to be exact. And we refers to our community. We refers to our company, Feed the People. We are currently donating to local schools and food banks, as well as providing bed for children through Missionaries for Charity in Langata, which we have done even prior to this first release. We are also organizing our own food distribution, which will be coming soon. So not much more than what was already on the webpage. So I said, fine. They at least responded. And then, but when you look at it, this is the organization that they're working with. You talk about a rebranding of not only Black radical tradition, this is a rebranding of what has already been debunked as or should have already been long understood to be debunked. This missionary work of the Catholic charities associated with Mother Teresa. 100 years ago, Mother Teresa, her response to the colonization of India and beyond was, I'm going to show up in these poor people's communities and bring the gospel of the Catholic Church. I'm going to feed a couple people. I'm going to get some people, I don't know, a modicum of medicine, but I'm not going to address any of the actual colonization, the capital, the imperialism, the violence that backs and creates all of this. I'm going to rebrand the Catholic Church and Western Empire, and I'm going to spread the gospel. So so nothing about the Panthers' politics, nothing about Traore's politics or the traditions that he's coming out of. The invitation back to a Black radical tradition represented by the Black Panther Party, radical Pan-African solidarity and decolonization through Traore and beyond, is being rebranded as let's make some t-shirts and work with Catholic charities, missionaries.
I mix what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like.